Good morning, Yankees universe. KOD Nation, stand up. And all you Degens, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to this Thursday, December 8th episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. And Aaron Judge has re-signed with the Yankees, baby. Yes, sir. Number 99 is coming home. 9 years, $360 million contract. The owner, Hal Steinbrenner, got it done. When Brian Cashman wasn't filling the Aaron Judge contract, Hal Steinbrenner came in at the last moment and made sure that number 99 was going to spend the rest of his career in the Bronx, where he should be. Shout out to the chat. I want to take this second to shout out the chat. We got Udo Joseph is in the building. Udo, what a good. G-Man is in the building as well. And Jigga Man Porto. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow because Get Yanked will be going live on NYY News TV. Oh, I'm excited. It's a good week. Aaron Judge is re-signing. Get Yank is premiering on NYY News TV. And we are here to talk Yankees offseason. I got Uncle Taz from the Pinstripe Chronicles. He will be joining me momentarily. He was just wrapping up his show. If you guys aren't tuned in, make sure you guys go follow the Pinstripe Chronicles. Make sure you support Uncle Tats, Donald, and Rob. But yeah, Yankee fans, like Udo just said, what else can the Yankees do? We need an outfielder, a starting pitcher, and a reliever. All three is on my early Christmas gift. It's on my Hanukkah gift list, Mr. Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner. Make sure you guys go out there, get the left fielder that we have to get the extra starting pitcher, and get a reliever or two. I got Michael Osborne in the chat. Mikey, what's up, man? Any news on Rondon? No, brother. I am checking Twitter as we speak right now on my phone, refreshing it every second or so. And no, still no news on Carlos Rodon. Let me just check it one more time. But as of now, there is no news on Carlos Rodon. From the reports that are out there, it seems like today is the day that Carlos will be signing. Hopefully it is with the Yankees. Hopefully the Yankees just don't stop with the Aaron Judge contract. And, I don't think they're going to stop. Because in all honesty, one thing that got me upset, right, was that how people were so quick to say how the Yankees overpaid for Judge. So quick to say how Judge fleeced the Yankees. And there's one guy in particular. His name is David Sampson. Mr. David Sampson was on, I believe he was on, what is it? SNY? No, CBS Sports. And Mr. David Sampson, I'm not sure if he's just a Met fan or a Yankee hater, but the haterade was pouring out of his pores yesterday, talking about how bad of a contract this is. It's an albatross contract. How Aaron Judge, we get it. He's not Aaron Judge. We're not expecting Aaron Judge to replicate the season he had last year. No, we're not saying that at all. But if Aaron Judge can have 4 or 5 seasons of 40 home runs, and the last 4 years of the contract is just regular 20 to 30 home runs, this is our guy. I'll take that. I've talked about it several times, but by the time Aaron Judge will be 35, when he's into this contract, right? By the time Aaron Judge turns 35, Giancarlo Stanton would have retired, which means Aaron Judge could be the full-time DH. What are we talking about here? This contract, you had to get this done. Shout out to Uncle Foxy in the building. Uncle Foxy, salute. He said, what about an outfielder? Benintendi, Bader, and Judge, 100%. If it's not Benintendi and we're switching gears, we're going to have to make that trade for Brian Reynolds. I'll make that trade also. But at the same time, the Yankees can't just sit back and just say, all right, we got Judge. Let's run back the same team we had last year. No. Because in all reality, just from signing Judge, we didn't get better. As a team, the team has not gotten better. We just didn't get worse. We just didn't get worse. And we can't just stop right here. You guys saw Masataka Yoshida last night sign with the Boston Red Sox. So yeah, we have to go all out. We have to go all out. We brought back Tommy Kahnle. That's a good signing. That's a good signing. But you have to go out there and you have to sign Rodon. If you don't want to spend the money on Benintendi, cool, copy. Shift that money that you were going to spend on Benintendi towards Rodon. And then after Rodon, you go out there and you trade for Brian Reynolds, because Brian Reynolds is on the cheap. He has team controllability over the next 3 to 4 seasons. If your focus is on the payroll not going over a certain luxury tax threshold, throw that out the window. We're going to have to go out of it. Anthony Medina's in the building. Anthony, what it do? And then I got Mark Anthony in the building as well. Hey, Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony said 100% right on the money. Now we need Rodon and another ace-like starter if we want to compete with the Stros. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And honestly, when it comes to Benintendi, spend the money for Benintendi also. Because you got to think of it like this. You're not just spending the money to re-sign Benintendi, right? You're spending the money to re-sign Benintendi, and then on top of it, make sure the Astros don't improve themselves by signing Benintendi. It's two things going on right here. One, it's the Yankees, re-signing Benintendi so we can get a whole full season out of him. Show up that money, make sure that money is at his front door. And at the second time, it's making sure the Houston Astros do not improve themselves. We got Krista Flash is in the building. Krista Flash, what it do, baby? Brad Jewis is on the line. Brad, what it do, what it do, what it do? Anthony Torres Rivera's in the building. Anthony, what it do, my guy? Hope all is well. Good morning. Salute, salute, salute. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you guys can, hit that like button, right? It helps us out with the algorithm, getting it out there towards other people. But like I said earlier, we got Uncle Tats joining us. And I'm bringing him right now. Uncle Tats, what it do, baby?
Good morning again.
Good morning again for the second time. Yeah, good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Tats was good, my guy. I'm doing good. I saw you and Donald and Rob was going off earlier. So let's keep that same energy over here.
Well, I still have my voice this morning,
Yeah. All the screaming from being excited. But honestly, for the people who weren't watching you over there on Pinstripe Chronicles, give us your thoughts when it comes to this Aaron Judge contract. What was your thoughts initially when you first heard it, and after having 24 hours to soak it in, what's your feeling about it right now?
The initial reaction was, "Oh my God, my birthday came early." And,
again, it came again. It came again.
It came again. Christmas came early. And it was that we had to get it done. Like I said when we were on yesterday with Jason. It was that flex that the Yankees had to make. They had to prove themselves that, look, we may have stubbed our toe a little bit in the past couple off seasons, but we still are who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to make that move. The 24-hour reaction now, I still feel the same way. I don't think that I have no regrets that we gave him the years and the money we did, because like we said on our show earlier, if they didn't make that deal, we would have been the laughing stock.
Oh yeah.
Why are you worried about the years and the money? You're the Yankees. You have it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's is at the end of the contract. Are we going to be saying the same thing? Maybe not. We'll worry about that then. It's only 2023. We can't worry about 2030. That's still 7 years away. We'll worry about it then. Let's just enjoy him while we got him.
And we got to recognize that this is our guy, right? For the kids that are growing up, this is their Derek Jeter, right? This is their Don Mattingly, right? This is our guy. We can't let him go. We couldn't have let him go to another team, like you said, Tats.
No, could you imagine? Like we had said in previous chats and privately, it's they had to make sure that this next generation of Yankee fans have their guy. because
Mm-hmm.
who else was going to be the face of their franchise this coming year?
Yeah.
There was nobody. Could
Nope.
it's almost like when Bernie almost left,
Yeah.
because he was the start of that era. All right,
Mm-hmm.
even with the core four, it should have been the core five.
I 100% agree. I always reference it as
You
the
know,
core five.
and with the kids that that grew up with Jeter as
Mm-hmm.
their idol, or for me, growing up it was Mattingly.
Mm-hmm.
So we have those guys that just go from generation to generation and keep the new fans coming.
Yes.
That's why That's why there's no regrets in the deal.
Yeah, and you brought it up a little bit. Well, let's not worry about 2030 right now. We can't worry about 2031, 2032. We can't worry about that right now, right? Because I know a lot of people, and this is what got me a little bit upset about the situation, right, Tats? The mainstream outlets, automatically went to, oh, the Yankees overpaid for Judge. Oh, this is gonna hurt the Yankees years down the line. Oh, does this make them better or whatever? But at the same time, in the same breath, if the roles were reversed, right? If Judge would have went to the Giants, how many of those same outlets that were quick to criticize the Yankees about bringing him back would have been the first ones to criticize the Yankees about letting him walk away?
No, they could. Yeah, that's why they had to make the move. It's in a few years that 40 million a year is not going to be a big deal. One of the points I made at the end of the Chronicle show was 10 years ago, not 10 years ago, about 8 years ago, when the Marlins gave Stanton that big contract. Everybody was saying it was such a, how could you give this guy 25 million a year? That you're overpaying for him. You're going to slug it like Stanton for 25 million a year. That's a bargain.
Right now,
So,
yeah, definitely is.
And by the time we hit 2030, this 40 million might be that bargain.
Never know.
It's you can't jump too far ahead in the future when we're still trying to focus on the present. And that's what the Yankees are doing. They're worrying about the next, 3-4 years. That's where that's where their focus is on, and where it should be.
Major, and at the end of the day, Major League Baseball, it's a anywhere from 16 to 30 billion dollar industry.
Yeah,
easily yearly, anywhere from 16 to 30 billion dollars on a given year, depending on how many butts are in the seat. But when it comes to Aaron Judge, like you said, Tats, we couldn't let him go. We couldn't let him go to Saint. The captains, everything that was around that, right? What does it say to Major League Baseball that Major League Baseball teams, they've had a hard time retaining their own superstar, right? For years, they've had a hard time retaining and keeping that same superstar with the same team. What does it say about the industry if the Yankees can't even keep their own guy? That the Yankees get outbid by somebody else and he walks away to another team?
What that would say to baseball is the team structure in the sport is broken, and it would take a long time to repair that. A lot of credit to Atlanta and San Diego with Tatis and Acuna for locking them up young. The Braves with Harris. It was you're seeing that the structure starting to change, and you're going to see. I think you're going to see that a lot more rapidly across the 30 teams, where they're going to lock up their talent young.
Yeah,
and they're going to buy out the arbitration years, because that's been kind of like that bugaboo, especially with the Yankees and the disaster it almost became with Judge.
Yeah,
Trying to ride these superstars on the cheap they're gonna realize is gonna bite them in the ass. So you're going to start to see that buyout. We already saw them do it with Severino. Despite the injuries, that was a very team friendly buyout on his own.
Yeah, and despite the injuries,
$10 million a year for a number 2, 3 starter, however you want to look at him. That's a bargain for what pitchers are making nowadays.
Yeah,
So
especially when you look last year, Severino made $15 million, and you got Noah Syndergaard making almost $20 million. So when it comes to Severino, it's a bargain. He's on the last year of that contract, and you know how players play during a contract season, especially starting pitchers. So we got two that are on a contract walk year when it comes to Severino and Frankie Montas. That's why I think it's so important to go out there and lock down Carlos Rodon for the next 6 seasons.
yeah, especially because look at the year he put in, to get that contract.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to get the big contract. Because he is the next big guy on the market aside from Correa. But
Yeah.
when you look on the pitching market, Rodon is that next guy because
Mm-hmm.
Verlander is out. And so DeGrom's off the table.
Mm-hmm.
Rodon was number 3.
Yeah.
So it's he's going to get the next big deal. It's going to take we were speculating earlier. You're looking at 6-7 years for him.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Yankees are looking for that 3-4 year window, it might take that 7th year to get him. You do it.
You do it because right now, when you look at the players that we have, when it comes to our core players, right? Garrett Cole, right? Now Aaron Judge, DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Rizzo. These aren't spring chickens, right? These aren't guys that are super young. No, these are veterans that you have a window within the next 3 to 4 seasons to maximize, the main potential out of their career. This right now is the main season going forward, the next 3 to 4 seasons to win a championship. And you can't go out there and be cheap, right? If Carlos Rodon, if we sign him and he hurts us the last 2 seasons, oh well, at least we got a championship or 2 out of it. Look at Washington, right? Washington right now, they got Strasburg on the mound. They got that other left-handed pitcher that nobody wants to touch, but they got a championship in 2019.
Yeah, and that gives them the pass.
Patrick Corbin was that pitch. I'm kind of remember Patrick Corbin, but I want to point out the chat real quick. Mark Anthony, I appreciate these kind words. Said I wish I could watch you every morning, but I still watch it on delay. Let's remember, this is how ball players get paid. Joe D had to hold back in like '89 to get paid. Yankees get this back 1,000%. I 100% agree. 100% agree.
Absolutely.
Can't disagree with that. AI Morris, he says Rodon will be great. Absolutely. And Christopher Flash, we need Rodon. Last power lefty we had was CC. 100% agree. We need to go out there and get that stud so we can put right behind Garrett Cole.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent point by Chris too. We need that power lefty. I think that's what's missing. We did not get that out of Montgomery. He was never going to be that power lefty. He's a finesse lefty. And he served us well, but it's we had to move on from him.
Yeah, God bless him. Wish him all the best of luck in the future.
I wish him the best. We had him. Other pitchers we had to move on from was Tyone. And good for him for getting a deal so quick, and he got a nice deal, and I think he earned it. He deserved it.
Yeah,
he didn't embarrass himself in the pinstripes. He served us very well while he was here, but he was another one. It was time to move on from.
Especially last season, Tyone, he made every start last year. Didn't miss not one start. He pitched to ERA under 4 in the American League East, which is a hitters friendly division. Get paid, get your money, go to Chicago, go out there and have a few good seasons. I just, he wasn't coming back to the Yankees, right? That like you said, that's a book that we had to close right there, but go get your money somewhere else and go out there and have a nice rest of your career, 4 to 5 seasons in Chicago. Who knows?
Yeah, they have to. That's where the Yankees really need to start buttoning up their process. They have to know when to cut the ties and when to make sure that they extend them. And I think that's that crossroad they're at this offseason. And I believe because Hal's been so more involved this offseason than in the past, I think that's increasing the fans' optimism.
Yeah. Now, there's a question that I wanted to ask you and the chat as well, right? We talked about this a little bit on Jason's show yesterday, but rumors came out and Jason broke it yesterday that the Yankees then trade conversations with the Washington Nationals and the Colorado Rockies in order to move Aaron Hicks's contract, right? And Aaron Hicks as the player. So if we pivot over to Josh Donaldson, right? and trying to find a team that would take Josh Donaldson in this horrible contract, let's look at the standings when it comes to, teams that made the playoffs and teams that almost made the playoffs, right? So when you look at a team like Detroit, not even Detroit, a team like Minnesota and the Chicago White Sox, I don't think that's a fit for Josh Donaldson because Minnesota just traded him, and his best friend Tim Anderson is not going to want to play with him when it comes to the Chicago White Sox.
No,
so yeah. So we can throw them out the way.
That would make MLB headlines.
Yeah, that will make MLB headlines. But now when you shift over to the AL West, Seattle, no, they have Eugenio Suarez, but maybe the Angels, right? But at the same time, the Angels, they have Anthony Rodon, who was injured all of last year. So the Angels may be out on him. What about the Texas Rangers?
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I think the only team you could really take out of the equation is the A's, because they've already moved on. They had them, they moved on. I don't think they're having a reunion. The Rangers is interesting.
Yeah, and the Rangers last year, they were 68 and 94, right? When it came to the wild card, when it came to the division, they were out on the division, but they were still a little bit in there when it came to the wild card. An extra 10 wins.
Wild card.
Yeah, extra 10 to 15 wins could, shake it up and have them in competition for that third wild card spot. But do they see Josh Donaldson as that player to take them over that ledge? I'm not too sure.
No, that's not the type of player he is. He's not a guy that gets over the hump. He's just a player that can give you a contribution, one game out of every 7.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to make it very hard. If the Texas Rangers do take him, after what we did with Gallo and Odor, where we got them for free, we might have to pay. We might have to repay the favor just to get them off the roster and eat almost all of that money.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what? If that gets them off the roster, I think a lot of it we could, we could all donate to the Yankees, and every fan donated $1. They would
just
have
to get Donaldson off the team. Yeah, it'd be like that. The scene from Moneyball when he said the Yankees hate you so much they rather pay for you to play on another team. Yep. That's what the Yankees
going to come down to.
Yeah. When you look at the National League East, right? The top 3 teams: Atlanta, the New York Mets, and Philly. I don't see him being a fit for any of those teams.
No, the NL East, there's no way for him.
No way. And then you got Miami, who's probably not going to be willing to spend $20 million on a veteran. And Washington, I'm not too sure. Now, when you look at the NL Central, St. Louis, no, because they got Arenala. But then you got Milwaukee and the Chicago Cubs. Maybe one of those two. The Chicago Cubs are the team that drafted Josh Donaldson. Milwaukee, they have a Eugenio Urias as their third baseman, but he's a fringe third infielder. So maybe Milwaukee or Chicago. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't see Milwaukee taking that step. I really don't. I think they're looking to make a good run. And I think Urias is going to have a much better year this year. I think he's going to figure some things out this offseason. He's going to work on some things. The Cubs, you know what? I would actually say if it was a National League team, the Cubs would be who I call, and the American League would be Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. And then even when you shift gears to the NL West, the Dodgers, no, because they're most likely going to bring back Justin Turner. San Diego, they have Machado.
Yep.
San Francisco is interesting because Evan Longoria is a free agent right now. So do they re-sign Evan Longoria, who had a bad season last year, both offensively and defensively, or do they go out there and trade for the veteran Josh Donaldson?
Because of the Judge sweepstakes between those two teams, there is no way the San Francisco is going to tell the Yankees, yeah, we'll help you out. We'll take them.
Yeah.
There's no way. Yeah. They're not even going to answer the phone.
Yeah, they already blocked the Yankees phone number. They already blocked it last night. And then when you look at the AL East, of course, the Yankees, Toronto, Tampa, I don't think the Yankees will be trading with anyone from the AL East. And I don't think anyone from the AL East, Toronto or Tampa, will want to take on that contract of Josh Donaldson or have that player on their team. So it's going to be tough for the Yankees to get rid of Josh Donaldson. And like you said a little while ago, Uncle Tat, it may come down to the Yankees willing just to bite the bullet on that $20 million and say, you know what, wipe our hand clean. It was a mistake that we brought him here. We just gonna have to bite that bullet.
No, and I don't think they're gonna have a choice. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we just broke down 30 teams and we're only able to determine 2 of them where he would possibly be able to go. And either way, you're gonna have.
And
to
that's even a stretch. Yeah, that's even a stretch for both of those teams.
Yeah,
right?
and that's even if they're interested. We think they would be interested. So Cashman's going to have to get very creative when it comes to moving Donaldson. Hicks is going to be the easier move. I think that's focus on him right now. You can get anybody will take an outfielder for $10 million a year.
Now, when it comes to Aaron Hicks, right? The rumors are a prospect or 2, or they're going to pair him with Oswald Cabrera to get rid of him. I don't want the Yankees to give up. You can't get rid of Oswald. You can't get rid of Oswaldo. You can't. You can't get rid of Cabrera.
I think of the prospects we've been looking for, with the exception of Volpe, right? If they've already been here, they're off the table.
Yeah,
we need to continue building on that. We need to continue developing on the major league level these prospects, because that's been the problem. They're not patient enough with the young talent. They see, they would, why would you move a Cabrera or Peraza or and we'll leave Volpe out of it because he hasn't been up here yet. So let's use Cabrera and Peraza for now. Why would you move them when you've already seen what they can do for you?
Yeah.
Move the prospects that are still maybes. They may work out. Which is one of the things we were talking about with the Reynolds trade with Jason. How many times are we going to hug all these prospects for them not to work out and watch proven talent play elsewhere?
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the Reynolds trade, and I'm glad that you brought that up because I wanted to segue it into that conversation. But when it comes to either trading for Brian Reynolds or Andrew Benintendi, re-signing Andrew Benintendi, let's have the conversation of where we're at, right? Because when it comes to re-signing Andrew Benintendi, you're not just re-signing Andrew Benintendi, right? You're re-signing Andrew Benintendi, and you're making it hard for the Houston Astros to improve themselves by taking Benintendi away from Houston. Because, apparently Houston, they have their high and then pushing heavy on Andrew Benintendi. Right, so I don't want Houston to be able to improve. What's your take on that, Tats?
No, I think you have to. It all comes to. I think with Benintendi, it's going to come down to the money that's left. What is the contract with Rodon look like? Because I really do. I'm stubborn in this fact. I think Rodon is the next guy off the table. And is very involved with discussions with the Yankees.
Yeah.
So that's looking like I would say it's about 90%. I'm 90% positive that he's a Yankee. Benintendi, it all depends on what's left and what he's looking for. If it's working into the numbers where you're really not jeopardizing yourself into the next season, is they got a lot of money on the books right now. So it's going to come down to how the money works out and how much extra money that the Yankees want to dish out. If it takes giving him an extra, $20 million to keep him away from the Astros, I think you have to do it. You have to kind of bite the bullet so you don't get shot.
Yeah, no, yeah. I got Jared in the chat. Jared says, do you think we will get Rodon within the week? I think Carlos Rodon is going to sign within the next 24 hours. I know a lot of people had it yesterday that he was going to sign, but yeah, I think I wasn't going to say your name though, but but no, I think within the next 24 hours, we'll hear something from Rodon. If not, maybe at the end of the week, maybe Saturday. It'll come out for Rodon, but I honestly think we'll hear something within the next 24 hours. And I got Alan Landsman in the chat. He said Astros are after Reynolds as well. They have more wiggle room in the payroll. I see what you're saying when it comes to that, Alan. A great point as well. But the thing about it, the Astros, they don't have the prospect pool to make a trade for Brian Reynolds. Now, If the Yankees are out on Brian Reynolds, re-sign Benintendi, and the asking price that Pittsburgh wants for him is lowered, then I could see
Then
the
they have a
Houston
chance.
Astros taking a shot at Brian Reynolds. But as of right now, with the asking price, and even with the asking price for the Yankees, I think it may come down because of the fact that he's let it be known publicly that he wants to be traded, right? So when there's a little bit of chaos and around a situation, the asking price goes down just a little bit, not that much, but it won't be as deep as it was a week before he asked to be traded.
No, I think you're right. It's going to. I think whichever way we go, if we
Got
get
Worldwide Mayberry
Benintendi,
in the building.
we have we take the risk of Reynolds going to Houston. If we take Reynolds, then we take the risk of Benny going to Houston. These two teams are going to compete with each other for a minimum 5 years. They're going to be neck and neck. What the Yankees need to focus on is which player gives us the best competition against the Astros. And it kind of sucks to say, it's painful to say that, as a Yankee fan, that we're playing second fiddle to this team. But
it is a hard
it's
time.
the reality of it. And it sucks, but that's the truth of it. We could lie to ourselves all we want that we're the big bad Yankees. Well, the Astros have had our number for how many years, and they continue to spank us around. So we've
met them in the postseason 5 times out of the last 9 years, and each time we lost.
Yep.
Each time we've lost.
We have to get over that hurdle. So we have to reverse the fortunes a little bit, and either way, it's either going to hurt us or help us. But that's that, when you're talking with these two specific players, that's that 50-50 risk you run.
But like you said, in 2022, it's a reality that the Yankees are chasing the Houston Astros, right?
Yeah.
And I think Hal Steinbrenner understands the urgency to improve this team. Because like I talked about on the show yesterday with Jason, there was a 30-minute window that Aaron Judge to San Francisco was almost reality, right? So for 30 minutes, Hal Steinbrenner felt the pressure from us Yankee fans. Hal Steinbrenner felt the pressure from the Yankees Twitterverse, right? About he's the worst owner in baseball. He's a horrible owner. How could you let Aaron Judge go? You're super cheap. Oh, we got the trolls in the building. Jacob, what it do, my guy? Salute. But Hal Steinbrenner felt that for about 30 minutes. So he wanted to change that up ASAP, especially what he went through last year at the stadium, getting booed on several occasions.
Now, this question was brought up on our show. Do you think that booing was the turning point for Hal, saying, you know what, when the offseason hits, I'm going to be very careful where my money goes, and I'm going to keep a tight watch on it all?
Yeah, no, 100%. Because I was at the stadium for both the Paul O'Neill booing and the Derek Jeter booing, and what people heard through the TV was a very PG-13 version of what actually was going on in the stands, right? So they muted a lot of that audio. The fans were I never felt secondhand embarrassment that felt so real like that day seeing him get booed both times. I felt embarrassed for him both times. I felt super embarrassed for him.
That was just really hard to watch. It really was, because as much as I probably was booing myself from home, but at the same time, it's like he has opened up his checkbook. The guy that really deserves all the vitriol is Cashman. And where I'll bring the blame back to Hal is how many times can you send your kid to the store with money and get no change back before you say, you know what, I'm not giving you money anymore?
That's a great comparison.
Enough is enough. Stop giving this guy your money. He's not spending it right. Either that or he's stuffing his own pocket. It's enough is enough. That's why I had my question would be, is that the reason why it took so long for Cashman to get his deal? Was Hal trying to figure out if there was a suitable replacement?
Maybe, maybe. He is signed for the next 4 seasons, so we're gonna have to deal with this, this headache for the next 4 years when it comes to Brian Cashman. But you're absolutely right, Tats. When you talk about how Brian Cashman is to blame for certain moves, and I put this all on, it falls back to 2018, 2019, right? When the Yankees didn't get Shohei Ohtani, they pivoted and got Giancarlo Stanton, right? But for some reason, they were willing to trade for Giancarlo Stanton's contract, but they weren't willing to go out there and spend the money on a Bryce Harper, on a Manny Machado, even though for years leading up to their free agency, we were told that the Yankees are clearing the books in order to get one, if not both of those guys. So that's when it's, to me, a head scratcher, because you got to look at it right now. It would have been a perfect scenario for the Yankees to sign Machado or Harper, or maybe both of them, because then we have two big money contracts in Machado and Harper, but we got the young kids around them that are basically cheap when it comes to Judge being around them. When it comes to, even Sanchez, even though we don't like Gary Sanchez, back then in 2018, he was hitting 30 home runs a season, right? So we would have had Machado and Harper around Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, and all of our other young talent that we had on our team, Gleyber Torres, and so on and so on. But we didn't, and we pulled back, and now we have to worry about adding pieces around Aaron Judge at his advanced stage right now.
When that all happened, we didn't know that Judge was going to be as good of a center fielder as we did.
Right.
All right. Well, you also, so you have Judge that they're banking on playing right field. Harper only wanted to play right field. So did the Yankees move on from Judge to get Harper? Like, that was the big question that was going around. How do you have two players, two superstars in right field? It doesn't work. So the Yankees banked on their young talent and moved on from Harper. Machado is where they screwed up. Machado was the bigger mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because we did have a need at third base.
Well, for me, when it comes to Aaron Judge, and I understand that completely, but if Aaron Judge is also a great center fielder, if they were willing to have Judge play right field and center field this season, what's from stopping you to have him play left field? I understand the reads may be different, right? If you want to say that, but if they're willing to throw Giancarlo Stanton out in left field, I would rather have Aaron Judge in left field than Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah.
In my opinion, even when we traded for Giancarlo back in 2018, I would have rather have Aaron Judge playing left field than Giancarlo Stanton, because Aaron Judge is a better athlete. Aaron Judge is a better fielder. Aaron Judge is just a better outfielder overall. So the hesitance to move Judge to left field, I don't understand it, even because at the same time, you're still allowing him to play center field.
Well, because at that time, we also still had Brett Gardner, who played left field perfectly. He was a phenomenal defensive. He read balls in that outfield like crazy.
Right. Right.
So your defensive lineman didn't need any adjusting. It was trying to figure out how to get Stanton in the lineup and get him some play time. That's where he ended up in left field, because you're not going to bench Judge for, they didn't want to bench Judge for Stanton. So because I don't think they wanted to deal with the fan narrative of it.
Yeah.
They're trying to see if they can move Stanton, move Judge to make room for Stanton, which was never the issue. But you know how us fans, we overreact to everything.
Yeah.
We pick everything apart sometimes where we get dumb. But they needed to, that's where they made the biggest mistake, was not utilizing him in the outfield as much.
Shout out to my guy Pudge Nice. Go Mets. Listen, no funny business, Pudge. This is not no shade or anything like that. The Mets got a real good piece with Justin Verlander. Instead of having to commit 5 to 6 seasons on Jacob deGrom, who's injury prone, I'd rather take the 3-year risk on Justin Verlander instead of the 5-year risk on Jacob deGrom. That's just me personally. And on top of it, I think the Mets are going to make a real push to try to get Shohei Ohtani at the trade line this season.
Yeah. No, the Mets. I think the Mets won on that pitching.
Mm-hmm.
That pitching move, and what it was having Verlander was the perfect pivot for them.
Yeah,
But
perfect pivot.
yeah,
Yeah. Now, don't be greedy and try to get Rodon. Leave Rodon for us. All right. Don't be too greedy now, Pudge. Okay. You can't have everybody. What's your thought? What's your thoughts on both Xander Bogaerts going to San Diego and finally somebody taking San Diego's money, and the Red Sox improving themselves by getting Masataka Yoshida and Kelly Jensen? What's your thoughts on the both of those?
um, even when you think Boston's going into a rebuild, they will make moves. They
Mm-hmm.
don't forfeit their seasons. They'll pivot. Is how I'll put it. So they're always going to try to be competitive.
Yeah.
Will it work out for them? You never know. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know how these guys are going to work out. Kenley Jansen, he's okay. I think his better years are behind. With the Dodgers. I don't think he's going to get back to that, but
Mm-hmm.
he'll be a serviceable. Just
Yeah.
like us bringing back Canley.
Yeah.
I think those two are pretty even.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I think Kelly Jensen is going to have a solid season for the Red Sox. Is he going to be all-star Kelly Jensen when he was with the Dodgers? No, I don't think that. But if he's 80% of that, it's a good signing for the Red Sox.
It's a win for Boston. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to say that they made a mistake by bringing him in,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's not somebody where you makes us shaking our boots that I can't believe
Yeah.
his bullpen. He's intimidating, but he's not that scary.
Mm-hmm.
He's a type. As soon as you raise your
Right.
hands, he's like he's backing away.
Right.
So
Right.
the with Bogarts, I think that not having him in the AL East is a plus.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't that superstar, but he was that guy. He'll grind it against you.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he's a good at bat. He's good. He's a good glove. I think the Padres, the fact that they had to stretch it over 11 years, how much money did they? I think that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, for me, it was 280 over 11 seasons.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't go over 300 million, right? And they kept it below 300 million. And now let's see what they do. Do they, there's talks about Xander Bogaerts playing first base, which I think is weird. But this is going to be interesting to see what they do over there in that carousel. But to one point, Boston lost their franchise player. I'm not sure if they have an identity now. So as a team, what do they want to be? And when it comes to, they may be losing Rafael Devers as well, Anthony. Apparently the contract negotiations, there's a $60 million gap between what Boston wants to give and what Rafael Devers wants.
Yeah, no, there's definitely with Devers, there's some mud in the water in that discussion.
Appreciate that, Mark. Yeah, no, definitely. When it comes to Xander Bogaerts, losing Xander Bogaerts, we understood that they most likely were going to lose one of the two, either Bogaerts or Devers. Now it's looking like Devers may want to trade before the season even starts.
I think that would be interesting if they do move him.
Mm-hmm.
Because Devers, especially the way he plays against the Yankees, he can do he can be the face of that team right now.
Yeah,
because he is a Yankee killer,
mm-hmm.
and in Boston, that makes you a celebrity.
What's your thoughts on this? Now, hear me out before you probably choke my neck for even bringing this up. But hear me out with this, Uncle Tats. What's your thoughts on the Boston Red Sox? And they've made a trade with this team in the past. With the Red Sox trading Rafael Devers to Toronto.
Oh, I think that will put Toronto
to pair Rafael Devers up with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because there's talks about Toronto willing to trade for Shohei Ohtani. If they could get Devers instead and try to pivot elsewhere for pitching, why not?
Oh, that would make that line. I mean, that lineup is brutal now. Imagine with Devers, and then if they're able to get Ohtani as the DH, then the Yankees better make a lot of moves. They can't. It's going to be
Yankee
a
fans,
battle.
don't be mad at me for giving the Toronto Blue Jays an idea. Sorry about that. I apologize, but it was something that I was thinking this morning, and it's very intriguing. It's very interesting.
It does make it interesting because Toronto. That wow, that would. I'm even trying to process this logically and not just say screw
And then
Toronto.
hold on, I just want to go to Anthony because Anthony said Boston wouldn't trade within the division.
Oh, they will.
Boston, they traded Roger Clemens to Toronto. They traded the Rocket to Toronto, and this was Roger Clemens.
Yeah, no, I don't think that whole you don't trade in your division. I think when it comes down to money and the owners making profits, that goes out the window. That then competition goes out the window, and then it's about the shareholders. I don't buy that in a division thing.
Now if it's a rivalry team that you have,
he ain't coming here.
They're not trading him to the Yankees. That's guaranteed. They're not trading him to the Yankees. Baltimore, maybe not even Baltimore, but I could see a conversation with Toronto because they have a history of trading with Toronto, especially big time superstars.
Yeah, but that would really that would make Toronto scary. And the only one I know, I might have to reach out to Blue Jays dad and pick his brain on that one.
No, yeah, because that right there. If I'm the Toronto Blue Jays, I'm calling up Boston just to see what they say. If they hang up on me, cool. They hang up on me, Anthony. They don't want to talk to me. But if they're willing to trade with me, I'm making the trade. And Toronto, their farm system, they are in the top 10 when it comes to their farm, when it comes to Major League farm systems.
Toronto's you're talking about?
Yeah, Toronto.
No. The one they're not sending Devers here. That goes without saying, because I think that would really that fan base would turn on them in a heartbeat. Like I said, when you're a Yankee killer, you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
So I think moving Devers might hurt them. That might hurt Boston.
It's ultimately would hurt them, but they're in the middle of a fringe rebuild, right? They brought in the Japanese player, but at the same time, they have to retool that farm system, right? Because that farm system has been depleted within the past couple of seasons. They used so many prospects to get Chris Sale. They use so many prospects for different relievers over the years. They have to replenish that farm system, and they do have some nice pieces. They got Brian Bello, who looks like he's going to be a fantastic starting pitcher. They got Jeter Downs down in their minor league system, so they do have a couple pieces, but they do have to replenish it.
Yeah, no, they're gonna have to get very creative with it too, and they're gonna have to raise their asking price. Which might deter some teams from pulling the trigger. Because it's also now you have to start going through Toronto's lineup and their roster on how many more years they have on certain players. Because they might need to start making some moves themselves to make sure that they keep the momentum.
Yeah.
So that can get very tricky with Toronto, but Toronto, I don't want Devers on that team.
Yeah, I don't want it either.
Enough of a headache.
Yeah, they're gonna be another Houston Astros. That's one thing that Toronto needs is they need that extra big bopper behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and they need that ace-like starter, right? So Carlos Rodon would be perfect for them, and I don't want him going there. I want him coming to us, but those are the type of moves that they need to push them over.
Yeah, no, and that's why if that's where this offseason has been very strange. You're seeing a lot of pitchers are getting good money.
Yes.
Who would have thought Tyone and Walker were going to get the contracts they did? Nobody saw that coming. And good for them. But you're seeing teams overpay a little bit to make sure that they don't get fleeced and somebody come in and swoop out the player that they want. The Yankees have to do that with Rodon. So if it goes to the 7th year, it may hurt in the 6th and 7th. It may hurt those last 2 years, but if that prevents him from getting a deal with Toronto, I'm sorry, you suffer those 2 years. You can't let him go over there.
Yeah, you can't. And even if it's 6 years or whatever, if it's 6 years, by the time that contract is over, he's going to be the same age as Jacob deGrom was this offseason. So that right there alone, I'm down to give him the 6 years. If we got to go 7 years, we go 7 years. 30 million a pop. It's easy for us to spend Hal Steinbrenner's money, but how has it? You have to spend your money, because when you look at the crop of free agency over the next few years, there isn't, I know we got Judge back, right? But if you look at the free agency over the next 5 years, the only free agent when it comes to position players that has the potential to replace an Aaron Judge is Juan Soto, right? That's the only position player over the next 5 years, free agency wise, that has the potential to replace what Aaron Judge did this past season.
That's if
And
he
then when
reaches free agency.
that's if he reaches free agency, right? And then when you look at starting pitchers, that's a great point also. If you look at starting pitchers over the next 5 seasons, I don't see a starting pitcher that's better than Carlos Rodon. I looked into the free agent pool over the next 5 seasons. There aren't any aces coming out of free agency. And that's if those pitchers are even allowed to reach free agency from their teams.
Yeah, that goes to what we were saying earlier. Teams are locking up their players younger. The free agent pool, I think, in the next 5 years is going to be all veterans looking for a place to finish their career.
Yeah,
you're not going to see the free agent, which is really going to suck for the offseason because it's so long already. But as you know, we'll worry about that later. But that's why I think you and I talked about it with Soto. I wanted him to have trade deadline so bad.
Same.
And it was like, it doesn't matter. You get him. It doesn't matter the cost. They should have made that move, because you either have him locked up for 3 years, but it gives you a window where if Judge at that time was playing an excellent center field. So you would have had, left field with, I think Cabrera was playing at that point. Cabrera, Judge, and then Soto in that outfield. You can handle that.
Yeah.
So, you had the option where if Judge did walk, at least you still had Soto for right field. You still had a formidable replacement, rather than trying to bargain shop. Because if they didn't get Judge, what were they going to do? Call back Gardner? Pull him out of his fifth retirement? What option? And I say him, and I feel bad because I liked him as a Yankee.
Same.
At the same time, it's like, who is out there going to replace that production? Nobody.
It's funny because it's like we would have probably called Jacoby Ellsbury to see if we could get something out of that contract. But no, yeah, I agree with you. When it comes to Juan Soto, he's a generational talent that, you trade Volpe and Dominguez for that type of player. That's who you trade Volpe and Dominguez for Juan Soto. You don't trade Volpe and Dominguez for Tyler Rogers or Pablo Lopez or Derek Screwboat. You don't trade those two players for those type of players. You trade them for a stud all-star in Juan Soto. And I'm not even sure if Juan Soto will even re-sign with San Diego, because if you look at his numbers, you can't even hit out in San Diego. That ballpark is just so big. It's hard to hit home runs, especially if you're a left-handed hitter. If you're a right-handed hitter, you could kind of get away with it because the line, if you pull it down the left field line, I think it's 280 or 290. But besides that, you got to hit bombs in that ballpark in order for it to really count.
No, you need no doubters to get out of that park. You're not going to get chip shots. They just sail out.
Yeah,
that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, and that's why even Machado and Tatis, that's why majority of their home runs, they're pull home runs down the left field line. If you're a right-handed hitter in San Diego, you could get away with pulling, cheating on the ball, pulling your hands in and pulling the ball down the left field line for a home run that's 280, 290. San Diego, it's a bit harder if you're a left-handed hitter. And if you saw that press conference when Josh Bell and Juan Soto made it to San Diego, when they got onto the field, you heard Josh Bell's mouth. Out of his mouth, he said, "Oh my God, this is a big ballpark. You can't hit home runs." Josh Bell said it after being traded there. He was on the field with Juan Soto, and the words out of his mouth was, "Oh my God, it's going to be tough to hit home runs in this ballpark."
Yeah, and that's where.
Hey, Chris said that's why Tatis took steroids.
Yeah. Chris, you never know. You never know.
You never know, bro. Never know.
So some ballparks play different than others, and I think that's part of, I think that's like a underappreciated beauty of the game is that every park has their own dimensions. You know, depending on how how they're angled, controls the wind. Controls the wind from weather to weather. It's awesome because you could have a guy hit 50 at Yankee Stadium, go to somewhere like San Diego and have 20.
Exactly.
And then it's like, oh my God, he sucks now. It's thank God the Yankees got rid of him. Meanwhile, it's the ballpark he's playing in. He's got 100
81
doubles,
games out the year. Yep.
Yeah, he's got 100 doubles, but he only hit 20 home runs.
Yeah, 100%. But Tats, before we get out of here, I want to ask you just a few more free agent questions, right? What's your thoughts on the Yankees reuniting and bringing back David Robinson?
At this point, with the health of the bullpen, if you can get a 1 year, very team friendly, I have no issues bringing Robinson back. And I say that somewhat selfishly because my wife loved him.
I love David Robinson. Ever since we had him as a prospect, I've always been in love with David Robinson, and I will bring him back on a 1 year deal, like you said, 1 year deal. Let this be the last season in the majors with the Yankees, the team that originally drafted you. Yeah, finish it home. And at the same time, when it comes to the rest of the offseason, I'll bring back Matt Carpenter. That's a piece that I think will be very reliable coming off the bench. Is Matty Carpenter. Carlos Rodon. Obviously, you and I, we both agree Yankees got to go out there and get Rodon. Any last free agency thoughts before we dip out, Uncle Tats?
Bringing up Carpenter is interesting because you haven't heard his name a lot. I think that he's going to be a guy that goes later in the rounds, per se. I don't see him going, before New Year's. I think he's going to be one of those. They're going to, teams are going to see where they're at, what trades they're able to make or weren't able to make, and then as we're getting around towards pitches and catches, because you see that a lot with veteran bats. And I would hate to see him be with that one veteran that just doesn't get it. That nobody even takes a flyer on. And he's sitting, the season's starting and he's still on the, free agent market. That would really bother me. He's such a likable guy. And he does still have the ability. We saw what he did.
Yeah. And it was a freak injury, bro. It's one of those injuries is literally like Final Destination. He's a left-handed hitter and he fouled the ball off of his left foot. Like that's such a freak injury to happen. It's 1 in a million. And I don't think that should deter teams for giving him a chance. If not with the Yankees, then bring him back home to St. Louis. Let him retire with the Cardinals. Let him have that last season run, just like Pujols had last year, just like Molina had, Wainwright had last year. So let's see it. I'm for it, man. Carpenter needs to get a spot.
Chris agreed with you right as you said it. So you guys are on the same page.
Exactly. But when it comes to the bullpen, right? Who's your closer in your eyes? We got Clay Holmes there, Jonathan Lasagna, Michael King if he comes back healthy. Who do you have as the closer of this team going into the 2023 season?
Now, don't hit me through the screen when I say all right. My closer, Wandy Peralta.
Nice.
He gained a lot of trust in, I actually trust him very much in those late innings. You saw in the postseason he was untouchable. And I think instead of trying to go for that that heat throwing power pitcher, he was doing just fine as a finesse lefty, closing out games. So Peralta, and I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but I trust Peralta a lot.
Yeah, I trust. He was able to enter my circle of trust last year towards the end of the season. And a lot of Yankee fans was upset when we traded Mike Tauchman for Wandy Peralta, but Mike Tauchman's not even in the league. He was playing in Korea last year, and Wandy Peralta was helping us in the postseason last year. So it was a solid pickup. It has paid off wonders. It's one of those moves that I can't stand Brian Cashman, but I got to give him his credit for that move, getting Wandy Peralta. And Wandy Peralta, I swear to God, I've seen him on Dykeman Avenue playing dominoes and drinking a 40 of Cobra. Like, I swear to God, I've seen him last summer on Dykeman Avenue playing dominoes, drinking a Cobra right in front of the barbershop. But yeah, Wandy Peralta.
He does seem like that type of guy, right?
Yeah, he definitely does. Definitely does. He seems like one of the, and I'm not sure if you play dominoes, but there's I can't stand, and guys in the chat, let me know if you guys understand what I'm saying. But there's some old school Dominican men that when they play dominoes, they can count the dominoes just like card counting. Yeah. So I've been playing dominoes with some guys. They're like, "Oh, you don't go. Oh, you don't go. Oh, you." And then you say they're pissed off because it's like, you know what? I don't go. But it's like they know how to count the game, and it's just so annoying. Oh God! But Tats, I appreciate you for coming on. You know, it's always a pleasure anytime always, you guys are coming on. Love you, Uncle Tats. You know, anytime you guys need me over there on the Pinstripes, just let me know. I'm one phone call away, and I'll definitely be there. Shout out to you guys, Rob and Don. Any last words before we dip out?
Just, hopefully in the next 24 hours, like I said yesterday, I'll say it again, and tomorrow I'll say it again. Get Rondon before the day ends.
Oh yeah. And Anthony Medina, he's like, yeah, I play dominoes too, and you know it's true. Yeah, but Uncle Tats, make sure you guys tune into the Pinstripe Chronicles with Uncle Tats, right? As well, Chris the Flash is in the building. Make sure you tune into Chris the Flash. Mark Anthony, I appreciate you for tuning in. Same thing with you, Anthony Medina. Big Blue of the Bronx, and the Bronx is in the building. Appreciate you for coming through. Everyone who was with the chat, L.I. Yankee King, I know you came late, my man, but I appreciate you for coming on. Michael Osborne as well. Guys, appreciate everyone for supporting. Oh, we have Mark T. Maker, the last one in the chat. Appreciate you, Marky Mark. But guys, appreciate everybody for tuning in. This has been another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, Friday, 4 p.m., NYY News TV. Get Yank will be premiering. It's going to be an awesome show. And like always, peace. And me and Uncle Tats will see you next week.
Peace out.
Peace out.